What's up, social media? So here we are with episode 2, where I am rocking out with my husband as we talk about parenting as a partnership. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share this video with someone that you know as we're getting ready to prepare for school. My hubby and I decided to come together and just kind of talk about some things that we've learned throughout the years, as well as, preparing for school. We're getting ready for school, and we're talking about parenting is a partnership. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. If you have not already met him, he's my handsome husband of 21 years of marriage. We have 3 beautiful girls, Kiana, Alana, and Madison. One's on their way to college. One is in the 11th grade, and the other one is in 7th grade. So we're just kind of sharing some tips, sharing some things, and we're going to kind of pick up off where we went. If you did not go see the very first episode of Parenting is a Partnership on my YouTube page, check it out, where we started off this conversation. And we're going to continue to add to this conversation about discipline and the way, when it comes down to discipline, how we discipline. So go ahead, Bishop. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope y'all can hear me better today. I had my headphone on and I realized how low the volume was. Can you hear me okay, baby?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So we left off yesterday dealing with discipline. I hope that some things we shared yesterday was a blessing. I hope it encouraged some of you, especially those who may be trying to tackle the load alone. You see now that I do need help from my spouse, and maybe your spouse, and you realize that, man, maybe I do need to step up and help out more. I really hope, if nothing else helped you yesterday, you realize the value of being present with your children, because my daughter didn't know me very well. I thought she did, but she didn't. And that being the case, it built a more relationship when I started spending time with her. So today, discipline. So we talked yesterday how discipline can't be generic, that we have an 18-year-old, Pastor T. We have a 12-year-old. One thing we found out the hard way is that every one of my children, each of my children are different. I cannot discipline each one the same. So I think, Pastor T, what we should do is kind of break down the personality of our children. And do is kind of deal with our 3 children and their personalities and how we discipline them and why we discipline them the way we discipline them. Because even though there's an age difference, there's also a personality difference, right?
Right. So true.
Okay. And so let's kind of break down number 1. So we're very protective of our children. We're very protective. So I'm going to spare as much details as possible because they're my babies. I fight you over my babies, but I will kind of deal with, each one of them. So we have Kiana, who's my oldest, and I find that it's easier for me to fuss at her. It's kind of weird, but I'm hard on her. I'm tough on her. Then I am Alana, who is my middle child, and she is 16, and I'm even harder on her than I am my baby girl. Listen, why? Because my 18-year-old, not because she's the oldest, well, probably is because she's older, but not because she's 18. I'll say not because I'm not just hard on her because she's 18. I've been hard on her whole life, but she absorbs discipline better. My wife, being a partner, she realized at first she thought I was too tough on her. She thought I was too demanding on her and to get out on the basketball court. And my wife always said, "You're too tough on her." But one day my daughter got on the basketball court and she was playing real hard, and I was really hard on her throughout the whole game. And my wife told me to stop. So I told my daughter that next day, I said, "Baby, Daddy gonna go to your game. I'm not gonna be as tough on you." And she said, whoa, don't stop, Daddy. I need you to do that. I need that. And it took my wife partnering with me, listening to me, and I realized that Kiana, she processes challenge different than my other children. She absorbs the challenge. She absorbs the push, and she's like a rubber band. I know I can stretch her further than I can my other children, or should I say different than my other children. And you got to be able to communicate that. I have to show my wife, you be the loving, the kind one to her, but I gotta push her because she's different. But yet my middle daughter, Alana, she doesn't take correction well. She doesn't. She's my baby. She's very emotional, and she thrives on succeeding. She thrives on impressing you. She thrives on having everything kind of a positive thing. And she doesn't do well with discipline. She don't do well with correction, and she knows this, so she does her darndest not to get in trouble. She does everything to be perfect, and that's what she's trying to do. So when I come at her, I got to recognize I can't come at her hard, tough. I got to kind of, think about what I'm going to say before I say it, because she's fragile. She's very fragile. I don't think me or my wife fuss at her. We kind of just let her be. Would you agree, baby?
Yeah, totally agree. She's different, and we just kind of we with Alana, we have to talk to her more. So the discipline actions with her is totally different, and it's more communication with her versus punishment. I can't really tell you the last time she didn't been punished, because she doesn't give us a reason to punish her. Do she have some flaws? Yes.
She's fly at the mouth.
She's very fly at the mouth, and so now she makes you want to kind of go that route. But when it comes down to school, she's very, very attentive. She does very, very well. So it's just a little bit different with her versus Kiana or Madison. And so we just discipline them totally different.
And he, like I say, Alana is very fly at the mouth. She's very smart at the mouth. So when I come at her, it has to be very specific. It has to be very direct on the topic that she dealt with, the topic that she's going through. And I'm hoping that you're processing this, because each one of us have different children, and maybe you thought maybe you were wrong because you discipline one way and you discipline another way. No, you're not wrong. Listen, I found out I love all my children, but I love them all different. And not only do I love them different, I discipline them different. And I think they even understand it, because Kiana never came to me and said, "Dad, you're tougher on me than you are Alana." It's almost like Kiana feels as though me being tough on her, and it seems kind of bad, but I'm gonna say the way she believes me being tough on her is my way of loving on her, because she embraces it, she takes it, she thrives off it, because I don't abuse her with my toughness. There's a difference in abusing her and challenging her. I challenge her with my toughness. So don't think, well, my husband beat my child, so that's good. No. We're not talking about abuse here. We're dealing with challenge. If I see she thrives on always taking it to the next level, so I'm gonna always drive her and push to. Anna thrives on succeeding on the level she's on, and let me move at my own pace. Don't push me. Let me move at my own pace. This is good. So Kiana want to be pushed to the next level. Alana want to succeed where she's at. So we challenge her, but we don't challenge her as hard and as fast. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So now you got Madison. Madison is the baby who has kind of been overlooked because we were so busy raising the other ones that we let her get away with everything. Because to be honest with you, this is reality. Everyone, as you deal with parenting, this is reality. You got to start, look in the mirror and understanding you mess one of your children up, and we messed one of our children up, and we got so caught up on raising the other ones, where the other ones raised her in a sense. They kind of took care of her, was challenging her. Well, I think Kiana thought she was her mom. She thought that she did more than we did.
She still do. She still think that she's her mom and that she's mama, and she still believes that. But I think too, where we learn too, and even when it comes down to school, because of how we raise the other two versus how we raise the baby girl, the other two never gave us any issues in school, never gave us any problems in school, where Madison is totally different. We're at the school, we're getting phone calls because of things that she's done, to where we realize, wait a minute, okay, I think when she was 10, we finally realized, or 9, that, okay, we need to start putting our foot down when it comes to Madison. Has a heart pure as gold, has the biggest heart ever, will take care of Papa and Nana like no other. She is that kid. But at the same time, she has more challenges in the school area, but I believe we got to take full responsibility and accountability for those challenges that we could have stopped together as as parents, because we felt like, okay, I think we were 30 when we had her, so it was like, oh my God, we she's younger, so she's too old. We're too old to be running behind a kid. But we realize, now it's starting to show that with the foot being put down and the disciplinary actions that we take with her, which is totally different than the other girls. So
and we have to realize a couple things. We have to slow her down because she was trying to catch up with her sisters in attitude, and because we be honest, we'll let the 18-year-old get away with more in a emotional, because she has to be ready for adulthood. And here we go, some of the things the 18-year-old would say, the 12-year-old trying to say, the things the 18-year-old trying to do, the 12-year-old trying to do. So we had to come together, partnership. We had to come together and say, hey, babes, we're losing control. We're losing control.
Yeah. And I would even say that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, well, go ahead. I'm going to stop you.
No, go ahead, baby. You're fine.
I would even say this, is that, so we get to this partnership piece, right? But this is building up to go somewhere. So we have an 18-year-old now. We have a 12-year-old, 16-year-old in the middle. 16-year-old kind of learning from the 12-year-old and 18-year-old's mistakes. So now we're finding out now there's favorites. We have favorites. One of my children is favorite. I love one more. No, I favor one more than I favor the other one, and my wife favor one more than the other one. And so now we have this collision because my wife is favoring the 18-year-old when I'm tough on the 18-year-old, and I'm favoring the baby. My wife is tough on the baby, and this caused collision. This caused problems because I thought that, okay, this is my baby. Not just because she's a baby. I kind of understood some things with her. My wife didn't quite. I didn't think my wife quite understood some things with her. And so I would kind of get upset when she challenged my baby more than she did. I would see that she didn't challenge the 18-year-old the same way. And then she would say the same thing, that I challenged the 18-year-old and I didn't challenge the baby. And so this began to be a battle for a while until we understood, okay, hold up. It's not that I don't like the 18-year-old. I challenge her. But she don't like the 12-year-old. She challenges her. So we had to swap roles to where she was the sweet, nice one with the oldest one. She was the disciplinary with the baby. And I am the sweet, nice one with the baby. And she's and vice versa, however they go. So the main thing is that not only do each child, listen to me, each child may need to be disciplined different. Child may need a different approach from the different parent. You gotta understand that we gotta understand where do I fit in this relationship with the child? Where do you fit with the relationship with this child? Each child is different. Even like my middle daughter. Me and my middle daughter, we talk about things on a certain level that my wife don't. And then my wife talks to her about things that she don't. Realize it takes two to tango with these children. It takes two. The dancing thing, is it take two to tango? It takes two. And I think when you make mistakes is that parenting, when you are dealing with step parents, why you don't treat my children the way you treat your children? You can't approach it like that. And I hope we do have the Q&A, and I really want to deal with that. And I hope y'all ask some questions about the stepchild, because I was stepchild. You can't just say, well, why you don't treat my children the way you treat your children? Because I got 3 kids, and they both of me, my wife's, and my wife treat the baby different. She treat the oldest one. I treat the oldest one different. I treat the baby, and we both treat the middle one different than the other one do. So it's not necessarily about, your child, my child. It's what the child needs from me. A mother may breastfeed a child, but a father may go out and play catch with one. But we got to realize each one of us got something different to give that child. That makes sense, baby?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Did I go too deep?
No, that's very, very good. That makes a lot of sense because we're totally different in our parenting approach. And you got to remember, when it comes down to discipline in your parenting approach, is that you and the dad are brought up different. We're both brought up different and brought up in different ways. And so because of that, our upbringing is different, but we have to come to a agreement with communication on how we're going to raise these children. What are we going to do to discipline them? What are we going to do even when they're in school? How are we going to approach, teachers? How are we going to approach them together as a team? Before we go into this meeting, how are we going to approach them as a team? What are we going to do to make sure that there's a plan together? Because we have one daughter that is dyslexic. So we have to come with a plan on how we're going to approach, with her learning skill. So everything has to be a partnership, because there's some things that I can teach that my husband can't, and there's some things that he can teach that I can't. So it's just learning as you go, the partnership. We're not here to say that we're perfect, because we're still learning, especially with our 16-year-old and our 12-year-old, and now being a parent of an 18-year-old, it's totally different. And so we're still learning the process. And I just think it's very, very important for the adults to communicate before we take it to the children or to the school, if that makes sense.
And when I say communicate too, and this is definitely in the book, right? So the communication piece is not necessarily just communicating just what we're going to talk to the children about. You also need to communicate your frustrations. I don't like how you discipline my child. And not just the stepchild or nothing. Just like,
yes,
my wife, like, hey, baby, I don't like how you talk to her. And I'm like, I don't like how you talk to her. And you can't have that conversation in front of the kids. You can't have that conversation.
No, not at all.
One day my wife said something to me about something. I can't remember what it was. And this is in the book, and my oldest caught a whiff of it that, okay, me and mom on the same page about this. And so I got on her about something. She had the nerve to come back and tell me she had attitude. I'm like, what you got attitude about? And she's like, nothing. I said, no, you got attitude. Tell me what your attitude about. She looks at my wife and she says, you mama the same kind of way, and you treat me the same way, as if such, I can't remember what it was, but she compared what I was talking to her mom about to what I was talking to her about. And she was trying to put me and mom against each other. You got to watch what you say. If you give her a moment that my wife may say to me that you being too tough on Kiana, you being too tough on Alana Madison, guess what? They're going to ride that.
Yeah, buddy.
They're going to ride that.
Kids will play you like a funky piano if you allow them to. They will play you against each other. They will play you to the point to where we have a group text. This is something that irks, I think, me and you both, babe, is that we have a family group text that everybody texts in, but if they want something from mama or they want something from daddy, they gonna text separate to that text message and ask, hey ma, can I go to to a friend's house? And I'm like, well, yeah, have you talked to daddy? And it's just learning how to pull them back and to let us talk together. And there are sometimes we make that mistake of, yeah, baby, go ahead, and never told daddy, never told mama. And now we're looking at each other like, why you didn't tell me? And so now they're playing us against each other, and they knew what they were doing, because you text every time in the family group text, but all of a sudden you text outside of the text to ask me for money or to ask me about a friend riding home with you, but you know that this is something that we don't agree. It's just, you understand? Does that make sense? Like playing you.
It makes a lot of sense, because it's so funny that we're in that era that used to, they'll ask mom and then they won't ask dad. Now they'll go through the group text and not the group text. It's funny, but you're right, 100% right, because I guess they feel as though if they ask you, they know that you probably will go for it and that you'll convince me without them having to go through convincing me, or vice versa. If they ask me, they'll get the fact that they think that I convince you. Yeah, kids will play you. So, and once again, it has nothing to do with step parents, has nothing to do with anything else besides children, or they got game.
They do. And I tell them all the time, man, the game is the same. It never changes. And until sometimes they do catch you off guard if you're in the middle of a conversation, or if you're on the phone, or if you're working, and they'll come in and ask. So they know exactly when to do it. It's just knowing as a parent that you're trying to play game on me right now, and just kind of realizing that. And I think that comes into paying attention to your children, making sure that you pay attention to them and pay attention to how they move. It's almost like you got to just be just as sneaky as they are. So kind of pay attention to their moves, pay attention to how they flow. Why are you so excited today? What are you excited about right now? Because you're too excited about something. So you're about to ask me something really, really quick. because you're
You know
too
what we're gonna talk
excited.
about tomorrow?
What?
You know what we're gonna talk about tomorrow?
What?
Team Harden. How we had to become Team Harden against the girls.
I love it. I think that's the best way to even close this out is to talk about.
Yeah, I think so. Come up tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about how we finally realized the only way we're gonna survive. Because listen, our first part of our marriage, we had to realize, we had to deal with each other, and then we had to get to the point where we got used to each other, and then okay, now we got babies. Now we got to realize how we're gonna balance babies, how we're gonna be able to go here and do and strollers and and buy medicine and deal with all that kind of stuff, right? But it was a shift when we found out our kids was playing us against each other.
I think that's the best way to close this out, because we will be live tomorrow instead of being here. So we're going to be live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I want you to send your questions. And I think this is the best way to end it and close it out, Bishop. Send your questions. Ask us any questions, everything that we've been dealing about. We're dealing with parenting is a partnership. The reason why we're doing this because we're getting ready for school, and you want to make sure that as parents, one thing we do at New Destiny, we do a family affair where we deal with one family at a time. We had a women's conference, we're having a men's conference, and the teens are doing something. So we do something to empower the parents as well as the children, but we wanted to come and do this. I wanted to do this one here with my hubby, and we're going to do it live. So set your alarm, set your clock, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be right on Tonya Harden's page, where we're going to be talking about parenting as a partnership, Team Harden style, right? Team Harden style. So we're going to close it out right here, Bishop. Any last thing you want to say before we close out?
I just say this. We just made the kids part of Team Harden.
We just what?
We just made the kids part of Team Harden. It was just originally just me and you.
Just me and you, and now all of a sudden we gotta because they're getting older, so now we gotta change their mindset. So yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right, until
that's all I got.
Thank you so much again, Bishop, for being a part of this with us. Make sure, again, you mark your calendars, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I can't wait to rock out with you. He can't wait to rock out with you. Come with your questions. Email me at admin@tonyaharden.com, or you can also leave a comment below so that you can ask all the questions that you want to about this. I can't wait. We can't wait to see you on tomorrow. Until then, stay blessed in all that you do. And remember, you are a product of God's grace. Bye-bye.